Okay, people. Got a little challenge here. We have VG making our custom pizza right now. So, yeah, let's try and beat the pizza now. Alright, I made these two other presets. Well, I have this one already, but now I have a huge one. And then now I have a tiny one because I realized that I almost clicked something that was underneath my thing. So let's just hop right into it. Here is a door that I made, or a gate that I made. I UV'd it, I textured it, I modeled it, I did it all. So I'm not just trying to show off or anything. This is Substance Painter, and you can see my UVs are right here. This is just a 2D image, and it is a square, just like how we had in the UV editor, how we fit everything into that quadrant, that square. So yeah, that's essentially what I did with this object. This is just a more complex version of the cube. I used all the same principles when UVing. There were some issues. I did have some overlapping that I couldn't fix for some reason, but I'll show you. This is an example of when something is overlapping and there are like you're gonna end up coloring on the same space. See, what if I just wanted a bit of moss here, but for some reason it came up on this. But as you can see, it's a little strange. Like, I don't know why that's happening. They are separate in the UV space. Here is the wood, and here is the metal. But for some reason they overlap there. I managed to get it in a way where you couldn't really see that. See, even over here, there's a lot of issues with this object, but I did manage to get a pretty good result out of those disgusting UVs. It was actually that they're pretty good. I just don't know why that screwed up. But yeah, there's just one example there, and we're gonna try and get the same. We're gonna use the same materials once we texture the next object. Um, yeah, so I'm just gonna discard that. Goodbye. Oh, it's an oven. We have. Oh, look, that looks familiar. That's the gate. So we're gonna focus on this tower for today. I'm just gonna show. I'm not gonna provide this tower or anything. You can just use the principles that I taught in the last lesson, and I'll just show you how to do it onto more complex objects, such as this tower. So we have this tower. I'm going to close these and then reopen them. So if I get in my UV editor, I'm going to grab the whole tower, and you're going to see those are my UVs. Look good? No. Okay, so those are bad UVs. They're overlapping. They're not properly UV'd. If I did apply the checkerboard to this to check, see, we have some uniform squares here, but we also have a lot of stretching here. This, we all love seeing that, and that. We actually don't. So yeah, I'm going to end up UVing half of it, and then just duplicating the half over. You can see this. Oh, I'll move this over. This and this are the same object. If I just UV'd this, and then I just brought it out, duplicated, brought it over, it's just gonna work for us. So I already have a duplicate, or was that my duplicate? No. Okay, there we go. So something easy I can start with. I'll probably start with these spikes coming out here. They're just gonna be protruding from the wood. There wasn't a lot of thought put into the actual how they're being put in the wood, but we'll just fuse them, make it look protruding. So first off, I'm just gonna fix this this bottom one I don't like because it's floating. And if I go like this, so this is not related to UVs at all, but here we go. Let's just do that. Like that. Okay, we're not gonna worry about the placement. we have a really simple shape here. We could even just do this one. So I'm just going to grab this one. We can see the UVs here, but it's not getting displayed properly. This is an easy fix, but it usually doesn't work. If I just hit automatic, we are going to get something semi-desirable, but at the same time, we are getting, everything's just kind of all over the place. And if we did sew these, is that cool? I'm gonna sew these. I actually didn't do it that bad. Maybe this one. It really depends on the object that you are making. And if it's like some high-tech machinery, then you don't want any skewing. But I did end up sewing all those. It does look semi-uniform. I have a seam. It looks like there's a seam there, but... Okay, yeah, if I just... I'm going to try out some things. So this is a more an organic shape, even though it's like 8-sided. It's supposed to be some sort of spike. Wood spike, metal spike, bone spike, I don't know. But we've done automatic UV, and then we sewed the sides together. And remember, yeah, the sewing was there. Hold shift and then right click, and it should say move and sew, but it's all one object now, so we can't do that. So if I go here, I'm gonna go do this, bring this stupid thing over here. Come here. Nope. And we have this unfold option here. So if I go to my shell, I'm going to turn off the checkerboard, make it easier to see. And I'm going to hit unfold. I don't know what it's going to do. Hopefully it fixes it. It changed it slightly. Checkerboard. That's the checkerboard. There we go. And we don't have a whole lot of skewing. It did fix that, this bend over. But so what I was saying, I don't know if I mentioned seams in the last video, but you can see this is not cylindrically wrapping around. Like, this is a 2D image, so you can't see that three-dimensional space where it's wrapping around. And that is when you have to cut your UV. So it's cut down this line. So these lines do not line up. They will not line up. You can't make them line up. But all these other ones do. And you have to pick where your seam goes. I kind of like this position because, say you're the player, you're really not going to notice that. Like, it's a bit of, like a small issue there, but you're just going to run by this tower. It's not going to be a big deal. So we have this, it's UV'd, and it is unfolded. So we can actually just, I like this one. We're gonna duplicate that. Bring it down. Scale it. Try and match it with this other old stupid one. And here we go. And then we're gonna go like that. Scale it down. Come here. Get rid of that. Stick this in here. We actually don't have any wasted polygons there. So I'm just going to keep all those polygons. But these are all inhabiting the same UV space, but you can see that the texel density, the actual size of the squares, is different between the three. And we're going to try and match the three of them together. So I have all three selected, and they're all sitting on the same UV shell. So I'm just going to separate them. And I know that this is the biggest one. I'm going to try and match it to this texel density. So I'm going to start with the second one here just so I can get both these in view. And if I uniform scale this smaller, because it is physically a smaller object, we're going to try and match what we have here. I think that's around the same because I didn't scale it that much, but this one will probably be scaled a lot more. So I'm going to match it off of my middle one. So scale that. That looks about right. Put over top. It's about 0.25 smaller. 0.15. Who cares? But they're all the same texel density now. But I need to fit this whole tower onto this one quadrant. So we can't be having these objects taking up a whole lot of space, and then when I try and do like the base here, I'm not gonna have enough space for it. So I'm gonna select these three. I'm actually just gonna combine them just so I don't have to keep clicking on and off. And I can still select their shells separately. So I'm just gonna move them in a way. I'm just gonna uniform scale them. Bring them small, all three of them together. Make sure you scale it all together because it will keep your texel density, as we can see here. So I have these three. I'm just gonna say anything spiky related is gonna be top right corner. So put these boys over here. Girls, whatever. And now I can actually just delete these, but I need to know the placement, so I'm just gonna duplicate, Control D. I can hold X to snap. I believe it should snap right on. They are different positioning, so oh, that's the difference. This thing. So yeah, I'm gonna hold off on the duplicating for now. I'm just gonna do this one next. Actually, I could probably do this just to show off that cylindrical. Usually when you make cylindrical objects, it's going to come in pre-UV'd. I can just make a cylinder here now. Cylinder right there, pre-UV'd. But like the UVs are skewed here. If I just shorten this shell, then there we go. Look, but the texel density is way off. But yeah, we're trying to make our UV look as close as possible to our actual 3D object. So if I grabbed all these, I'm going to isolate. No, I've already isolated this object. There's a whole scene attached to it, so I'm just going to leave that. I'm going to go to face mode here, and then just grab that. I just click and dragged here, just so I grabbed all the faces except for the end ones here and here. And what I can do there is I can go to cylindrical under UV. We can do a cylindrical map. It's gonna be really weird right now, but we have ways to fix that. So you want to look for this red T right here. It's gonna be on one of the sides. It's not gonna be on that side. Click the T. We're gonna get this manipulator here, and you see we have this gray dome, and we're trying to match its cylindrical height and width to our cylindrical height and width. So if I hold J to snap while rotating, I'm just going to snap this up 90 degrees just so now it's going in the same direction as our cylinder. And then if I just scaled that out, we're going to get... No, I could actually just, yeah, it's already too large in our shell. So I'm just gonna scale that in. Yeah, I am. So there you go. It's a little harder to see that they're squares, but if it was, yeah, like this, we're gonna see. Oh, it's a bit of a rectangle. How could we? There we go. More squarish. I just it just needed to be shorter. I think it was too long. But now we can bring it down like that. And then we have these ends here. I can just grab that. I could probably just unfold those. You'll kind of understand when to unfold and when not to. No, it's still not working. How could I do this fun? Let's just see what auto UV does. I'm just going to grab this shell. Go here, I'm gonna hit automatic, and we're gonna get like much similar to the original spikes. We're just gonna get that look to our thing. I'm thinking I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna do them together. Hopefully they'll overlap I really don't think they will, but we'll see. So I'm gonna go automatic. No, it gave us all of them here, but that is fine. I don't want to sew it to this cylinder here because as I see it, this is like carved wood, and then this is just kind of like a log. So you are gonna have there's not gonna be much material that's transitioning from here to here. It's gonna be a little abrupt because you are like shaving the wood here. So I'm gonna go ahead and sew these fangs. So hold shift, right click, move and sew. I'm just sewing one side, and then I'm just gonna sew the other side. And then now this is our object. But we see we have huge amounts of resolution here and little amount of resolution here. So I'm gonna bring these. I'm not even gonna have to worry about this side because I can look at one side, it'll be the other one because I've done them together. So I'm just gonna look at this side and we're gonna bring that in. I might even bring this up just to get a better look. So I'm not trying to match them lining up, but I'm trying to match them in terms of the size of the square. So that looks about right, but I don't want this much resolution on this little thing. So I'm just going to scale those together. I'm just going to scale that down. This is pretty spiky. Put it on the right side. I'm going to do that. Lower right side this time. It's good to organize your UV space because you can have like, let's do this. We'll go like metals here, like woods here, objects that need opacity here. Like it's better. It's not good to have like, say this is wood and then like this is wood too, and then that's wood as well, and then it's like, okay, my object. Where's like imagine like 100 other objects in here and you're just looking for the corresponding ones for this. You can click on them in the editor, but like it's just easier to have everything just right there, or like that. And who knows, you could even grab this and it would end up being the end of one of these or that, and you didn't know, and then you screwed it up. So it's good to just organize your stuff together. All right, so what we have here, we have these UV, if we remember, and this here. We can see they're not taking up the same space. They are at different textile densities. We're gonna fix that later on. If you're going to do multiple projections for an object, you probably want to we have this thing here. I'm going to open the channel box. So if I did, let's do this. We'll just do this small little rectangle thing. So if I do my planar projection, I'm just going to, this would be the short way. I'd probably do an automatic for this because it's not too complex of an object. But I'm just going to do X, X, do we have a top? Yeah, we do. Okay. Then Y, and Y, and this one, Z. Oh, actually, my mistake. See, I just hit G when I should have. Oh no, I did do it. Never mind. Okay. I thought I just hit apply instead of changing the actual axis. So yeah, Z axis, and we want this face too. I know there's a lot of things on screen right now. Gonna try and minimize that, but we kind of have to do it this way. So I have all these. These ones might actually snap together. So when you do a projection, you see in your inputs here in your object history, we have poly planar projection 1 through 7 here because I did 7. The first one, we can see our projection height and width. We can if we go through all of them, we're going to see all of them are 306 or 360.101, except for this one. So this one, which is, yeah, that face. See, the projection is different on this projection than these previous ones, which were 360, and that's why we got different resolutions here. See, I have a higher resolution with with more squares, less squares, lower resolution on this one. It's kind of just a thing that that happens, and we don't really need to know too much about it, but we know a way we can fix it. So if I just go and I click on the first one here, this projection width, if I click on this and drag down, I'm going to select both boxes, and I like to stick with 240. So we're just going to do 240 for that. And it's a little tedious, but we're just going to go 240. And what do we got here? Oh, yeah, 240. All right, so you're going to see that on every axis, we're going to get the same texel density here. I see we had an issue here earlier, but now they are the exact same. I'm not too sold on what this material is going to be. I'm going to keep them separate islands. I'm going to bring my UV editor back. So yeah, these are my UVs right now. Some of them are flipped, but they are all, if I did a uniform scale, like if I grabbed all of them, I just scaled them in a bit, they're still going to stay, just as long as I scale all of them. But I'm just going to separate all the islands. Let's do this in this view. And we can shift click and select multiple of our red objects, which are, they're in the negative right now. We can hit flip. I'm just going to flip those UVs. Everything's blue. Blue is good. And then I'm just going to go ahead and sew these. So what I'm doing here, I'll probably make these 4 faces. All of them except for the caps. I'm going to blend, or I'm going to sew. And then these caps are just going to be unsewn. So there's going to be a seam all across here. So I'm just going to sew this, do a quick one, hold shift, right click, move and sew, hit G when you select the edge, so there. All of these edges are selected, and we have our caps here. I would just put the cap right on this, just like that. But the reason I'm not going to do that is because if I did that and I did this, we now, like, say we could have fit it right here. But now because it has these arms on it, we're not going to be able to fit it all in the quadrant. We're going to have more issues, and it might affect us later on when we're trying to organize this. Because if you remember, the whole object has to be on the one square. So if I did this instead, then we're good. And also, in the end, I'm probably going to end up deleting some faces, because some of them aren't getting seen, or aren't being seen, and it's just less on the UV space, which is really good. So I could actually even overlap these, because they'll never be, there's a thing that I haven't seen anything proven against it, but you can only view 50% of something at once. So if I had, let's go over here. I'll never be able to see this face and this face at the same time. I'll only ever see one. That means if I overlapped them, then unless I had something very obvious, like a huge scratch through here, I could make them both wood, and they would take up less UV space, and at the same time you won't see that they're obviously a clone of each other. But I'll probably do that just with these outer caps. The reason I'm not going to do it with the inner caps is because I'm probably going to have less wear on this inner piece, or on this inner face, and more wear on the outer face, because as this is exposed to the elements more, the outer face will take more of the effect of the weather. So dirt, sun, I don't even know what that would be. Erosion, that's what it is. Yeah, so I'm just going to overlap this face and this unseen face here. So if I end up deleting this unseen face, then it's still going to be taking up the same space. So we can snap in the UV editor. If I go, and I'm just going to hit W for my move, hold X to snap. I'm going to snap once in one axis and once in another one. And then if I do the same thing with this and once in the other axis, then eventually they will end up lining up perfectly. Just like that. They're going to sit right over each other and there's no issue. But if you had it, if you didn't snap it and you were like, it was like that, there's going to be some issues here. You're going to see a huge line through through the face, and we don't want that. So that's done for now. We're not going to worry about the textile density too much. I'm just going to go ahead and UV everything, and then we'll worry about textile density and our actual UV layout, not the program, like the actual layout. So what I think would work here, I'm trying to figure out where I want to place this seam. So I could have from this face to like this face. I'll turn off that. I'm constantly turning on and off the checkerboard because I like to check my textile density. So yeah, it's even weird here. Okay, face, there we go. Okay, yeah. So if I selected this face to, oh, why is it doing that? Oh, because it's a triangle. Okay, so if I selected all these faces and I made that one island, then I would have a seam running along here and here. I may not want to do that. We'll pick it on the outer side, actually. Let's try and get this nose horn thing. We'll probably get that going first. So I'm just going to go ahead. Where are you? I wish the checkerboard just showed up on the small screen. All right, checkerboard. There we go. Okay, so checkerboard. I'm actually gonna. I want to see a good idea. You can automatic UV as well. See, it split it exactly how I was gonna split it originally. This may be the smartest way. Automatic is not always the best option, but if your object is simple and there's not a whole lot of like curving geometry, then you're gonna get a decent result. So we can see our textile density is uniform for the most part. We have a bit of stretching right here, but we can fix that. What else do we have? This interior, these inner faces don't really matter, but they did work out perfectly. And what I like about that program I showed earlier, Substance Painter, you can paint over the seams. It makes it less obvious, but it still is kind of, it's a little tough to like get rid of the seams, but I think that's going to work for us, actually. I think that's fine. Do we have back faces? I don't think we have back. Yeah, we don't have back faces here. And I noticed just now that these vertexes need to come this way. Sure. I may be doing some bad practice things, but it's all about how you apply it, because this is for you. All right, so what we have here, I'm gonna see if unfold is gonna do any good things for me here. Usually the unfold and the automatic are like your cheat buttons, but sometimes they could be like a godsend. So if I go ahead and I go unfold, you can see I went from this, see these long rectangles here, and I hit unfold. I'm gonna get the uniform squares going, and this straightened out, so I like that. This is a UV island on itself. I could even just sew that. I'm just gonna sew that right to the last piece we just unfolded here. We're good there, and I don't know if I want to make this too lengthy, because like I showed earlier, like even these, they're very lengthy, so we might have some issues fitting them in. to the UV space, but we can worry about that later. So we have this. This is UV now. The layout is not that nice. I want to see what these faces are. So these are interior faces, it looks like. We can actually just sew those together. Let's do that. We'll just sew that. Get this little thing here. This face is our under face. And we could sew that to this guy. So now working with, like, you don't want like 40 different UV shells. Like, you're gonna have a lot of issues. Well, you can have it, but like see, this is one object, but it's in the piece of this big object. You want to, like, per object, you just want to keep the UV islands down if possible, like the amount of them. So essentially we could even, well, we can't really overlap these ones because they're facing different directions. They could never overlap, but if I flipped it, it could. But we're not going to do that. So that's UV. Let's do this one. We can do this one quick. We know how to do that. So what we could do, there's a lot of easy ones here. We could just bust out really quick. So even if I just did this, I like to only use automatic when I'm using very basic objects. Anything that's close to a basic primitive, I'm probably going to use an automatic UV over projecting each face individually. So if I do that, I'm just going to do it to all of them and then organize afterwards. I'll just hit G. It'll just automatic UV that. Automatic UV that. That one too. And what do we got here? Oh, that one too. And maybe the floor. Let's do that for now. So we have all these here. I'm gonna sew a bit of this. So I'm just gonna sew these faces, these 4 faces, not the caps. You can't see them; they'll probably get deleted in the optimization phase. In the optimization phase, I just did it again. Okay, so here we go. Move and sew. Second, I'm just gonna do the floor. It may be fine as is. I think I'm just gonna sew this shell to I don't know if these are separate shells. So yeah, if you hold right click and go to UV, you can go to UV shell or just UVs and click the UVs. I just do shell just so I know which one's which. So I know I want this one, and I know I want this one, and I know that they are the same textile density because that's what automatic UV does for you. So we're not going to have any stretching when I sew them. So that works fine. The under part. I don't want to sew these faces for sure because I'm just going to there's going to be some issues sewing that face because they're going to overlap here in the UV editor, and I don't want that. I'll probably just sew these wings on. Let's do that. So this is the one winged side. This is the front. This is the bottom. So that's all for that. I'm gonna fix this really quick. See these faces. I think they need to go this way. Yeah, so like I'm trying to get a perfect image of this onto here. So you can see that this is how they were before, and you might think that this, like, they're just sideways, but they're not. You have to like do it like that. And if you scroll in, you have higher accuracy. If you're too scrolled out, then it can be a little more difficult to scale. Maybe just on when you first scale it. Never mind. So there we go. That's good. We don't need to connect those. Majority of this is done. A lot of this is just duplicating and then organizing. Let's do this one too. It doesn't look like it's touching the roof. Probably just want to bring that up until it touches. Come here. Works fine. So I can actually automatic this one too. Automatic. And the only reason I'm doing it to half is because, as I said before, it's going to be duplicated. And we don't need to worry about that. So I'm just going to hit automatic for this one too. Yeah, and then probably these will probably be the most difficult because we have those caps again. These ones seem to work out fine, but I don't know what the issue was with this one. I don't like this one. So I might as well just do it with all the box shapes first, just get the primitive stuff out of the way. So UV, automatic. Most people will never do automatic and they get mad if you do, but honestly, if it's there, use it, and if it's working, definitely use it. So I'll worry about the sewing of that one later. I'm just going to try and get everything UV'd, then we'll worry about sewing and layout and textile density after. So this one, I'm just going to see what automatic does for me. I can see it cut this seam here. This face is by itself. And it looks like it gave me some seams down the bottom, which is what I like. There's a lot of seams here. We got 4 of them. We got all the white lines here are the seams. Could I don't think I could sew them at all without causing more distortion, because you can see it's kind of getting a little distorted here. But if I sewed like this, these edges, yeah, and then this edge, triangles screw up a lot of stuff. Just know that. And I have a lot of triangles here. So I'm just going to stick with that. I'm not going to sew those. I'm just going to get everything ready just to be modified. So this one, I hate to just keep doing automatic, but honestly it's working for this right now. Maybe not this face. We'll see. Oh, that's attached. They're attached at the face. Okay. So what I can do here, I can see that this face is longer than it is in the UV editor. So I know if I just pull these UVs down, I'm going to get my uniform squares. But watch out, because you can get like squishy squares like that, and it kind of looks like squares, but they're not. I'd even bring... There we go. Yeah, that's good. All right, and this was a bit of a curve here. So when this comes out, I'll see if I can unfold that. That works. Not really. I may just project these by themselves. Yeah. Unfold. Yeah, I'm going to unfold the top of these, the top 2, because I had some distortion here, and then I'm just going to project these ones. So I can tell I'm in object mode. Let's go to world. Okay. Z. Go to the Z axis, and I'm just going to get perfect squares here. But they're not going to be the same textile density. That's the only issue. But pick your poison. So I'm going to click this side. I can actually click that side and this side. And because they're both in the X axis, I can do them both at the same time. One of them is just going to be in the negative when it comes out, which is this one. And we go flip that thing. And let's go to our projections here. And I'm just going to set these to 240. And then this projection, 240. So those are the same. I wonder if auto project. Yeah, this one I may just have to. I don't think auto project lets you change your resolution scale. That's the only issue. But yeah, we'll just bring them down. Come here, and this one, and we're just gonna bring them right down. Maybe not that much. And we can see that's too small. And we'll probably, let's see if we can do this. too small. Still too small. Oh, my bad. It's going the wrong way. So what I'm looking for right here is pretty much that I'm getting a same square on this top one as I am on this shell here. So if I scale it in a little bit more. I'm gonna get pretty much the same thing here. And it's gonna work all along all the axes. So that roof's done. What else do I have? I have these. It's gonna be a bit of a pain. Not really though. Cylinders. What else? Anything else? What was that born? Yeah, I did that. Okay. So these are just kind of throwaways. There's not too much going on there. This would probably just be a modular piece. You could throw this anywhere in the level. So might as well just UV it. No, I won't. Because it's not going to be... Maybe it will be. Yeah, okay. We'll put it in the UV map. So this one, again, let's just make this like super easy. Something really cool we could do. I'm just gonna cut this all in half. Cut it all in half, and goodbye that half. So now I have this half, and it looks like everything is flipped here. So what I can do, I'm just gonna flip all that, and then see automatic. See, this is what I don't want. Well, this is what you don't want as a final result, because you have so many things going on here, and you're just going to clutter your map. Like, you have great resolution or great texel density here and minimal distortion, but there are issues. So what I'd probably want to do for this, we're just going to work one log at a time. Just going to find all the ones for this. I believe that's all of the UV. Oh no, this one too. Alright, and I'm just going to drag these over. I'm just going to see what's going on here. So, what I have here, we have a seam there. Seams across here. It's not going to matter too much. I know a way that I can paint it, that it'll look better. We could... Yeah, probably the easiest thing to start with. Oh no, we'll just start with this. So I'm just going to start sewing this. I know that I want to sew these 3 walls, just so we lose that seam right there. I can't sew these though. If I sewed these together, we're going to get, see this jaggy looking thing? It's not going to look good, so we're not going to do that. And I might just sew this side. So if you click multiple edges and then sew, it'll just sew to all those. So there we go. It looks cool. It's like a fork. Some kind of giant fork. What is this one? Alright, so this is the underbelly. I don't know if there's a face under here. Let's see, what face is that? That's that face. But yeah, there is a face under here. There we go. That face. These fun. And we know that this should go on the end of it. Oh no, I think they get cut off right there. Yeah, let's just do it like this. Move and sew. And you can just go there. So yeah, we're pretty much conserving a lot of space right here. Because if I could even... I don't even want this in the end. I don't want to. Let's put it here. put it there. All right, and we can do the same with these ones. Just gonna do that. Bring these guys over, and we're just gonna do that sewing thing. So, fork. Make it with the extra fork piece, and then we need this one. We'll just do that. If you don't know where it is, like I didn't know which one the last face was gonna be, so I just sewed the edge, and it just brought it over. So there you go. And we want to find its cap too. Bring that cap over. And we have this last one here. So I'm just going to sew this. Sew this. It's going to look a little different because it is a half. It's a half spike. It's supposed to sit on the ground to conserve geometry there. So we have that. And I don't think that has... No. We're good. Alright, we won't worry about these things right now. But yeah, we'll just work on these logs now. I'm thinking that I just want to grab these faces. Let's do this. Grab those faces. So I'm only grabbing these interior level ones. And I'm deselecting all the other ones. So you can see those are the only ones I've selected. I'm just going to delete those. We can get this hollow thing. We could even... No, let's keep them separate. Alright. So here we go. What does that sew to? Yeah, it doesn't just sew to anything, actually. These are ugly, though. But we can throw these... Can we throw these in here? Yeah, they should just, like, perfectly fit. Woohoo! Look at that. Conservation. Right there. And, what are all these little faces here? What do we got? We got these little guys here. Yeah, let's just get rid of all the in-betweens. I'm just going to press H to hide. And I'm just going to... Oh, no, they're still going to... Gross. I don't like that. And there we go. I'll just delete them through here. Hopefully I don't... Just make sure you're not... Like, if you're optimizing, you're not just deleting good faces. Because we need more of those in the world. Oh, what about this one? Is at the top? Yeah. So I'm just deleting a lot of unneeded faces and probably this one too. There's a lot of ugly stuff here. Those could even go. I shouldn't be cleaning up this early, but it looks like I'm gonna have to. This is fun. Get rid of you. Alright. There's probably some extra faces in here too. Okay, this is why I don't want to, like, I have isolate select on, and this is the rest of the level here. So I'm just going to isolate that really quick. No. Okay, let's just go back. Oh yeah. Fuck. There we go. Let's do this. Alright. These guys are good. This face, unseen. 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 Honestly, these are probably all just unseen faces, and they can just get out of here. Can't see that one. Out of sight, out of mind. Oh. Cool. Okay. way more optimized too. And we can just, let's do layout. Let's show you layout. So basically whatever we have selected here, we can go to this thing called layout. I believe it is at the top. It's probably one of the most useful tools we use. I'm not sure. I hate this new UV editor, but we will go and look for layout. There we go. Control L. So it's gonna use our UV space as efficiently as possible and have the highest amount of resolution as possible. So it's gonna fill the whole UV space. But I don't want that because this is all one object. So if I just bring this down, I may have some issues with the textile density in the end, but we'll talk about that in a bit. I'm just going to duplicate this. So if I hold D and V and hold my middle click, I can change my pivot point. So if I change it right to the middle here, and I go to Mesh, Mirror, and if actually I want to freeze my transformation first. You want to do that because if it thinks that it's in a different part of the grid, then it will mirror from that axis. But we need to freeze the transformation to tell it that this is its origin now. So if I mirror in the X, and I turn off cut geometry, and I go by mirror axis position object instead of world, and I don't combine with the original. Actually, I could. Let's try it. I'd never use this, but we're gonna do that. So now it's one object. All right, yeah. So it's gonna mirror it, and it's gonna give us all these flipped UVs. I probably don't want to combine that actually. Let's not combine. Ooh. What are you doing? Can I delete the history? And then freeze transformation. And then mirror next. Okay. I don't know why that didn't work. I guess we're just gonna combine with the original. It's being stubborn. Let's grab all these shells instead. We'll just do that. We'll just grab the right side shells, flip them, and now we have this whole other side here. We can't. Actually, could this work? These should. Alright, apparently these aren't the exact same thing, even though they are the exact same thing. Yep, okay. I'm just gonna keep them separate just because so we can get more variation in our object. Just so like we're not painting, if we overlap them and we paint on this left side, it's gonna paint the exact same thing on the right. It's gonna look weird. So here we go. We have the whole thing UV'd now, except for we're gonna start the mirroring now, and hopefully it'll actually work. So what I don't want this. I'm just gonna delete the one half because I know the very middle of my object is there. I have a few center lines I can base it off of. So when I start mirroring, I'm going to set the axis to that side. So I'm just gonna delete this whole half of things. And then I can even, like, it's all gonna be one object anyway, so I'm just gonna combine all the parts that I want. Duplicated here, just like that. And if I hit combine, then they all disappear. I think there's a little too much history on this thing, so I'm just gonna delete the history, freeze the transformation, and I'm going to. Oh, okay. I understand what's going on here. So because I'm in isolated select mode, when I create a new object through mirroring, it's not going to, it's going to treat it, it'll, watch this. Combine. Oh, they're gone. Oh, wait, no, they're not. It's because, it's one object that you, or it's a set of objects that you brought into isolate select mode, and it's just going to, and if you create a new object, it's technically a new object, so it's not going to be part of those isolated objects. So if I do this, I hold D and V, I'm just going to snap right to the middle, and now, yeah, my mirroring should just work fine. I'm not going to combine. We're just going to do that. Get a perfect copy on the other side, all UV'd. And if I deselect my new side, just grab all this and flip. Everything's overlapping now, but we can just go into that in a second in another little part of layout. But yeah, that's basically everything that I want to say about how you would go ahead and complete an object like this with UVs. I was a little sloppy. Sorry about that, but I am still learning, and I had a lot of fun doing this, so that's what I really care about. And I hope you guys took something out of it, like even if you didn't know one tool and I told you that and it worked. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll do a quick layout video, and we're good to go. All right, thanks for watching. Have a good one.